Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. Today I will have guests on from Keep Troop Beautiful. Also, I will have a guest on from the Corps of Engineers. So stay tuned for those interviews coming up in just a moment. Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm being joined by members of the Keep Troop Beautiful. I have with me to my far left, first of all, the chairman, Howard Mingo, and also here immediately to my left is Mr. Scott Lander, the executive director. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Glad to be here.
Well, Howard, and you know, I was talking with you all, both of you all, and Scott, I remembered as we were talking that I've had you both on the show, and Howard's kind of the voice behind the camera that Philip likes to hear a lot of time, and unfortunately he's not here today. But we gentlemen were here to talk about something that everybody can get involved in, and first of all, that is keeping Troop beautiful, keep America beautiful, and all of those cleanup projects that you all have going on throughout the year. Let me just start out, first of all, Scott, I know that you're not necessarily new to Keep Troop Beautiful. You've been there since February. Talk a little bit about your role, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah, as executive director, I try to keep us going in terms of our projects and going out and finding projects, finding volunteers to work with us on our various projects. And we do that throughout the year. We work really all year round. We are affiliated with Keep Georgia Beautiful, which is part of Keep America Beautiful. So we get a lot of resource help from Keep Georgia Beautiful in terms of project help and you know, giving us some guidance, especially for the newbie here.
Okay.
It's helpful to have that kind of guidance. I've got a great board behind me, chaired by Howard, and a great group of volunteers to work with on these projects.
Absolutely. You know, volunteers, I think, what makes the organizations or any organization thrive and run and be the success that it is. And Howard, as the chairperson, I know that you realize that first-handedly, and myself having served on the board of KTB some years ago, I do know the importance of an organization like KTB. Talk a little bit about your role, if you don't mind.
Well, my role is to help educate the public. We call it the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. We try to get folks in the county to take a personal responsibility to keep an area clean. If it's a church group, a civic group, or maybe your work group, and you decide to keep an area clean, we can help you with that. We will supply guidance, gloves, bags. We will tell you how to recycle, where to recycle. We ask people, when we say take a personal responsibility, if you're not recycling at work, ask someone why. If you're not recycling at church, why? It's as simple as getting a 55-gallon container, putting a liner in it. One, you say plastic, one is for aluminum. And start your recycle program. It's that simple. But we have to take a personal responsibility, and that's what we try to educate the public on.
Okay, and you know, it's so important. I remember years ago, my brother, had a soda can, and I crushed it down and threw it in the trash. And he said, "Man, get that out of that trash can. You got to save something for my son when he come along." So you know, that helped to put it into perspective because, you know, of course, I've I'm trying to think of his name now. But anyway, that told us about the recycling, the livelihood of the can. How quick you can put it back into circulation. Bob Wiggins, I couldn't call it, Bob was telling me how quick it can be back into circulation there. And you know, and I know that you all take the programs into the schools. Talk a little bit about some of the other programs that you all have that kids can get involved in.
Well, as you said, we like to get involved in the schools. We did a presentation at Hollis Hand, just to name one, recently with their recycling club. So there are kids at Hollis Hand who are involved in recycling. That's a great audience. We can educate them, as Howard has mentioned, on what happens to this stuff we throw away. There really is no away. It hangs around, and if it can be recycled, that's a great use for it. So that's what we like to do. We like to get in front of kids and supportive faculty members to help them understand, first of all, what the recycling process is, reuse, and all of that. And then get them active, whether it's right at their school, as they do at Hollis Hand. They really focus on recycling the materials that are within the school there.
Okay.
And we really want and hope that that will carry on at home. To me, there's nothing more powerful than a young student going home and saying, "Hey, Mom or Dad, don't throw that away.
That's
We got to
right.
recycle that."
Yeah.
So, talking about litter is another very frustrating thing to me. I don't understand why people driving along just toss that drink cup out the window. There's no excuse for that as far as I'm concerned. And again, I think it's a powerful message for that child buckled up in the back seat to say, "Wait a minute, don't throw that out," and to help recycle. So yeah, schools are very important to us, as well as the other organizations in our community, whether it's a garden club, whether it's any other group that we like to work with. So yeah.
Absolutely. You're talking about riding down the street, and I'm like you. When I ride the Parkway and I see where it looks as if someone may have had some trash and didn't, contain it properly, and you see debris all over the road, and like, oh my God, that just, that says a lot about our community. And Howard, you were mentioning a moment ago about taking a personal responsibility. And I know that one of the things that you all sponsor is Adopt a Mile. Talk
Right.
about that if you don't mind.
Well, we ask that organizations such as your church, civic group, or your work adopt a mile, and it's an area that you pick, that you decide you're going to keep beautified. We are able to get signs to put up for you, and it's up to your organization to keep that area clean. As I said before, we will supply gloves, bags, information on what to do with the trash that you collect. We have one where I work, and I'll tell you what, we find more liquor bottles in that area. I guess maybe some people can't drink at home, and so there are more liquor bottles in that area. But if you can adopt a mile, just call us at our number, and we will help you set up that that organization, that program for you.
Absolutely.
And we get great support from the cities in Troup County as well as the county in supporting that effort, again with the signs, and we will support with trash bags and safety vests and gloves and things like that. So it's a great program.
So important for the community and get everybody involved. And as we're in the Christmas time of the year, it's important to realize that, once we take down the Christmas tree, it's not nice to just kind of ride alongside the road and toss it out. So you all are again bring one to the chipper, which we want to talk about here this morning. Tell us a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Bring One for the Chipper actually is a nationwide effort, and certainly in Georgia here, it's part of Keep Georgia Beautiful, and for us, Keep Troup Beautiful. So it occurs same day throughout the United States, and that is the first Saturday after New Year's, which for us coming up is January 7th.
Okay.
Saturday, January 7th. And we will be working on that Saturday at our LaGrange Recycling Center. It's on South Davis Road, basically right under the water tower there at the intersection of Lafayette Parkway. Beginning at 9 o'clock, we'll be set up to receive Christmas trees. Although I want to point out the Army Corps of Engineers is doing a great job of collecting Christmas trees for the lake, and that's important as well. But we can certainly take Christmas trees, and then electronics. Electronics is very important that they not be thrown away, and
right.
that they be recycled. So we'll collect electronics, everything except TVs. We can help on that aspect as well, but electronics is what we're looking for.
Okay.
And tires. Tires again are a huge problem in terms of being thrown away, and so we'll be accepting non-commercial tires in that effort as well.
Okay.
And tires can be easily recycled. We're coming up on some interesting things about our using recycled tires in our roadways.
That's right.
So we've got some new roadways coming up in our area here that'll hopefully be using recycled tires. So that'll be important. So 9 o'clock, we will be giving away tree seedlings, both oaks and dogwoods. So come grab a tree.
All right. And the tire, I just want to clarify too, the tire amnesty is going to be at the recycling center as well as bring one to the chipper?
That is correct.
Okay.
And the dumpster there to receive tires will be available actually all during that previous week.
Okay.
The week between Christmas and January 7th.
Okay, very good. You know, in talking with Jim McLaughlin, who's with the county, I think a lot of the debris that he finds a lot of time is tire and, of course, the trash and you know, just household garbage. And I just like, you know, you and I, we sit here and we think about it. How can someone just ride along and just toss a bag out, you know, things like that? And of course, Jim, who also writes citations.
Absolutely.
So it's so important that we all get involved with keeping our communities clean, whether it be keep Georgia clean, keep Troup County clean, whatever. So, gentlemen, it's a pleasure to sit down with you all to talk about these various things. And if there was somebody because we talked about volunteers, somebody that's sitting watching the show today that hadn't adopted a spot, how can they do that?
They need to get in touch with us, with
Okay.
me, and they can do that a couple of different ways. Our phone number is 706-884-9922.
Okay.
And that comes directly to our Keep Troop Beautiful office. We're also on line at ktbaffiliate@att.net.
Okay.
Like us on Facebook. We're now on Facebook.
All right.
So like us on Facebook, and you'll see different ways of getting involved through our Facebook posts as well.
Okay, well, very good. And I know that, you know, people will remember, bring one to the chipper, bring out your electronics, excluding televisions, and also the tire amnesty that will be taking place out at the recycling center starting on January the 7th, and following that entire week, correct?
That week leading up.
That's
yes.
right.
Okay, all right, very good. So by all means, bring one on out to the chipper, get seedlings, pick up an adopted spot by giving Scott a call or either giving Howard a call. Gentlemen, I want to thank you both for very much being on the show today. As always, our time gets away, but it's always a pleasure to sit down with both of you all, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Weekend in just a moment.
Nobody wants to be stopped by a law enforcement officer.
Everyone wants to feel safe.
So we've trained our officers to first listen and then explain.
We ask if you have contact with one of our officers, you listen, give him an opportunity to explain, comply with his requests, and if there's a problem, contact us so that we can investigate your complaint.
Listen, explain, comply, then complain.
Our safety and yours matters.
Welcome back, City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Now I have the pleasure of sitting down with David Scott, Park Ranger with the Corps of Engineers. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to sit down with you to talk a little bit about, I just had Howard on and Scott Leonard talking about bringing one to the chipper.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about bringing one out to you guys too. But before we get into that, David, I'd like to just, because this is my first time sitting down with you, tell me a little bit about yourself if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of a local kid. I'm from Valley, just up the street here.
Okay.
I came to work at the Corps 14 years ago, fresh out of college from Auburn University.
Okay.
Graduated there with a degree in forestry, which plays well here at West Point Lake. We have 35,000 acres of land that we manage here. We manage timber, wildlife. Of course, we have recreation parks and campgrounds and things that are managed through our office as well.
Okay.
And then we have the lake itself that we manage, you know, with the fisheries and the boating and different things that go on the lake. So
Sounds like you got an exciting job.
some days very exciting.
Some days very exciting. Okay. Probably some stories could be
Well,
told, right?
I've got many stories in 14 years.
I bet so.
I'm sure many more before my
Before
time's
that's
up.
right, that's right. And David, you talked about the various components of the lake because, you know, and a lot of times, and I don't want to confuse folks because I know the viewing audience perhaps saw a releasing that took place, and that is not the Corps itself.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So we had, you mentioned a fish release over the summer, a couple of those, and that's managed. Most of the fisheries is managed from Georgia DNR.
Okay.
And they have a fisheries biologist and a fisheries department that comes out and they do samplings on the lake a couple times a year. They kind of keep a check on the health of our fish populations. And then they make some decisions based on that. And we're fortunate enough this year, and I think from hopefully a couple of years coming, to have some bass, largemouth bass stocked in the lake. And that's something that our fishermen have been asking for a long time, you know, just to help those populations and make the fishing maybe a little bit easier on the lake if those populations are up. So
well, very good. Then you were talking also a little about the different components and the timber, because when you think about the timber in the lake, help us understand what that consists of, if you don't mind.
So when the Corps of Engineers came in to build the lake, obviously we knew what land would be covered with water. And the lake, is one of its primary designs was for flood control. And so one of those things is the lake has to have a storage capacity above what our summer pool, our full pool is. And so we purchased land not only that would be underwater, but land around the lake. And in some places we purchased more land than we needed for the purpose of creating habitat, recreation opportunities, and that sort of thing. And so that left us with, like I said earlier, about 35,000 acres of land around the lake. And in some places we have larger chunks of land, maybe as large as 1,000 acres. And in those places we're able to get in there and manage timber. You know, and by having this ring around the lake, so to speak, that's protected from development and the, you know, subdivisions and that sort of thing, we manage that timber, that habitat in there, and that serves as a filter. That filters off what is coming in from outside sources, maybe runoff from a field, from a cow pasture or something. That runoff filters through that wooded lot that we're maintaining there before it gets into the water. So that helps improve our water quality as well.
Okay, very good. And you know, and me being in community development, and think about it in that aspect, but I see the importance of it. And all that leads up to talking about keeping the lake clean. David, if you had a message to say to the general public about how to do that, what would that message be?
Well, it all starts with our personal practices of how we handle litter, probably most importantly. You know, if you throw a Coke bottle or a styrofoam cup out of your window on the side of the road, people don't really see how that can make it to the lake. Our watershed stretches from right here at West Point Dam all the way up to Lake Lanier on the other side of Atlanta. And so every creek that feeds into the Chattahoochee River, every stream that feeds a creek, every ditch that feeds the stream, in big rain events, take for instance the one last year at Christmas time, you know, 14 inches of rain in 2 or 3 days. That kind of water has power to move Coke bottles, styrofoam cups, basketballs, tennis balls. If people have been on the lake, they've seen all this stuff piled up in coves. It makes its way down those streams into the creeks, into the river, and we're the last stop for it. You know, and so our lake really catches it here. And so we have cleanup events where we try to clean that stuff up. Of course, one day spent cleaning up a lot of times hardly makes a dent, but it does put into people's minds that, hey, this is the result of pitching that one Coke bottle out of the window or that one styrofoam cup. You know?
Absolutely.
And so we want people to kind of see the impact that it has for just releasing 1 or 2 items, you know, out the window. And so if people would retain that, you know, recycle it would be ideal.
That's right.
Recycle it, but at least get it in the proper location. Get it going to the trash dump instead of out the window, and it's not that hard to do.
Absolutely.
And so that's one of the biggest things I think would really help clean up our lake is if we could just turn the mindset of more and more people that are just riding down our roads. And again, this is not a local problem. This is from here and include most of Atlanta. I mean, this is a large land base, a large population base that affects the end product
end,
here
right.
at West Point Lake in Troup County.
Absolutely. Well, you're talking about a cleanup, and Howard and Scott were just on talking about we have the Great American Cleanup that will be coming up in April, and I'm hoping that the public will come out and not only clean up our roadways, but the lake as well,
right, yeah.
because it is a very beautiful lake. And I want to transition in talking about how we can kind of continue to help that lake to be stocked with things that our fishermen like, and
Yeah.
that's fish. Because Howard and Scott were talking about bringing one to the chipper, and there may be some people that live out in those areas that you talked about in the county area that we want to bring a tree to the lake. Talk about the importance of that and what that does for the ecosystem.
All right. So one of the things that we offer, and we've started this a few years ago, is a Christmas tree recycling program. Like you said, the city has a program for chipping them, and recycling of any sort is good. But we'd love for you to bring them out to. We have 3 parks: Rocky Point, which is on the Alabama side, off of County Road 222. Yellow Jacket Creek boat ramp, which is off of Cameron Mill Road, and then Sunny Point boat ramp, which is off of Highway 219. So these are 3 areas that cover the lake pretty well, and we have a section set up inside each one of those parks. It's designated with some orange mesh, kind of like caution tape stuff that lets you know, hey, put them here. So you can bring your Christmas tree. Now we ask it to be real trees, no artificial trees. So bring your real Christmas tree. Please take all your decorations off. That's right. If you have tinsel on it, please get all that as much as possible off. But bring that tree out, put it there, and what we do is fishermen take those trees. They're free to come and pick those up anytime they want, and they can take them out and sink them and use them for fish attractors or fish habitat. So a Christmas tree, most cedar species are very hardy. They deteriorate very slowly. Cedar is known as a wood that's just stands the test of time, stands up to weather better than a lot of other trees. And so when you sink it in the water, it holds its shape, it holds its limbs for a tremendous amount of time compared to other trees. And so that's why it serves as a really good tree for a fish attractor. And when it gets in the water, what happens is it starts growing algae and that sort of thing on the limbs and the needles and stuff. Small bait fish come in, start feeding on that. Immediately the larger sporting species like your largemouth bass, crappie, they come right in following those bait fish, and now you have created a little mini ecosystem there, a little spot where now the fishing's going to be a little bit better, a little bit easier there, because you have some structure there that's bringing all these fish together for a reason there.
And I know the fishermen love that.
That's right. That's right. It's very popular. I mean, fishermen, especially ahead of a tournament, they'll come out and they'll make 2 or 3 good spots that are good for fish already. They put a handful of Christmas trees in, and that immediately turns the spot into almost a guaranteed catch, and so they really like it. And so, we encourage people to bring those trees out. If there are any left over, we do this, we keep it open until January 13th. That gives time for people to, some people are gone the next day after Christmas, some people let them stay up for a while. So that gives time for people to get the Christmas trees out, bring them out, and if there are any left over that the fishermen don't get, which usually they take care of most of it. It's a good opportunity for them. But if it's not, if there's some left over, we go out and we have about 30 fish attractor locations around the lake that we add to throughout the year. Different things. We build artificial attractors, but we prefer the natural best. It's cost efficient.
Absolutely.
And it's natural. So we'd rather have that. And so we take those out and we'll sink them in those public areas.
Well, very good. And just to talk about that, and because we do our lake, like I say, 26,000 acre lake thereabout, and then we have those great fishing tournaments here each year, and I'm sure you get involved with those, and the fishermen just really love to come out and because I know for the last 20 years plus we've had the fishing tournaments out there on the lake.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's you know, say it's the ecosystem and it's also the economics of it as well.
Right.
So both of them. So David, I know that you have a wonderful job there. And those access points again is Rocky Point, Yellow Jacket, and Sunny Point drop-off point.
That's right.
And David, if somebody had some questions about, you know, just about the lake that they want to ask you, do you have a contact number where they can reach you?
Absolutely. Our office number, and we have 10 park rangers
Okay.
ready and willing to answer calls and you know, give information. So our office number is 706
Okay.
645 2937.
Okay. All right, 2937. All right, well, very good. David, pleasure sitting down with you. I learned something new today here and talking with you, and I do appreciate all that you do and all the rest of the ladies and gentlemen do for us as our parks rangers and keeping our lakes safe and trying to keep them clean.
Right.
So public, David can use your help by keeping our lakes clean,
Absolutely.
doing the Great American Cleanup, or even before that time.
That's right.
David, thank you very much for being on the show today. All right.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Weekend. Just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us City Week this week. My guests have been from Keep Troop Beautiful, the Executive Director, Scott Landa, along with the Chairman, Howard Mingo, as they talked about Bring One to the Chipper on January the 7th out at the Recycling Center on Davis Road. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I had on from the Corps of Engineers, David Scott, who just also told you that if you don't get to get one to the chipper, bring one on out to him at the 3 drop-off points that he mentioned. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed these interviews, and if always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.